My name is Jody Fernandez, and I'm associate professor here at Morehead State University. I moved to Morehead 8 years ago with my boyfriend. We moved here from Florida. We picked Kentucky because we generally liked the people here. I could get a job here. And it's halfway between my family and then some more of my family. I have a son and daughter-in-law and grandson in Knoxville, and I have family in Columbus. So it just depends which way I turn, who I go visit. Kevin and I had not been married. We take marriage very seriously. But we decided to get married on July 1st. July 1st is my dad's birthday. My dad had passed away and never met Kevin. And July 1st, if any of you have lost a parent, know that some days are harder than others, and July 1st has always been a hard day for me. So we decided to get married on July 1st. Now, we had heard through the grapevine that Ms. Davis was not giving marriage licenses out to gay and lesbian couples. But we really didn't think that that was going to be a problem for us because we are a man and a woman. And in the United States, and in every organized religion that I can think of, you might know more than I do, but especially in Christian religion, they like it if men and women get married and don't just live in sin. So we really didn't think it would be a problem for a man and a woman to go and get a marriage license. However, it was. And this is a side of the story that's not been brought out a whole lot, and it's a side that's very, very important. Ms. Davis cites her religious beliefs as the reason she did not want to sign marriage certificates. She has no standing when it comes to signing a marriage certificate for a man and a woman. She deprived us of our civil right to marry when we wanted to marry. And where we wanted to marry. There are a lot of things that came out from this. You know, you could have went to another county. I live in Morehead. I walk to the courthouse. I can't walk to another courthouse. We walked to the courthouse to get our marriage license.
I'm in Wampler-Collins, and this is my wife, Shannon. And our story is a little bit different in that we live in Lexington now, but I'm from Morehead and grew up in Morehead and went away to go to college when I was 18 to Massachusetts, and that's where I met Shannon. And we've actually been together 24 years. And we had a commitment ceremony, a wedding 20 years ago, because back then things changed so quickly, but we really never believed marriage would be legal for us in our lifetimes. I mean, it was never anything that we considered, you know, maybe when we were old, but we never had any realistic conversations about it. So even when we knew this decision was going to be made, it was hard to believe it was going to happen. Shannon kept saying, not in Kentucky. Something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. It's not going to go through here. So I was astounded. I remember the day the decision was made and celebrating and being in shock that Bashir was saying issue licenses today. Like, people were going out and getting married on the day. I mean, it was unbelievable. Really, I couldn't get my head around it. And then Shannon was reading the paper on the internet. She's like, oh no. Carmen, you're not going to believe this. In Morehead, they're not issuing them. And I don't think I can explain the whirlwind of emotions, you know, to have something like this, and you're like, finally, and then, yep, but not where you're from, you know. And I was furious, you know, just furious and sad. Even though I don't live here, some of the people I love most are here, and some of those are young LGBTQ people. And I know it's difficult for them to live in a small community, and I knew I had to be a part of the people who stood up to say no. What was great is that people did immediately. There was this outpouring, this reaction of like, this is not who we are, and people willing to be visible and say that. So we came as soon as we could to be a part of that protest. And you know, for me it was really tough. I've been out for a really long time, you know, and you think you've kind of covered all the bases. That's a lot different than going to your hometown and holding a sign on the sidewalk from my grandmother, where my grandmother used to live, you know, down the street from the bread store we used to go to, like, out, you know, really out. And so we kind of got involved with what's now become the Round County Rights Coalition, and the people kind of standing up to say no to this. And as things unfolded, we were so grateful that there were people here. I mean, Karen and April and Jody, they didn't have to go apply. And you know, and the thing to know is it didn't just happen in Moorhead, but in a lot of smaller rural places in Kentucky, people didn't come forward. You know, people didn't want to put themselves in all that scrutiny and how their lives turned upside down. So we wanted to come and support that however we could. And we did go in to apply the first week when she was still denying licenses, for a lot of different reasons. People encouraged us. My sister was furious and wanted a chance to go in and say her piece. So we did go in and we were denied. And you know, people said, well, you live in Lexington, you could apply there. I'm like, yeah, but I grew up here. You know, it's not right that I shouldn't be able to come to my hometown where I grew up and have the same rights as anybody.
And the protesters started to line up and come on, and here were some at 8 o'clock, here were some at 7 o'clock, here were some at 9. And about 8:30, I said to Karen, I said to the other protesters, has anybody gone in to try to get a license? And they said, I don't think so, not today. And I said, we're gonna go in and see. Because, you know, maybe
She changed her mind.
after being on the news last night, she came to her senses and decided to give a marriage license today. She really didn't mean it last time. So we walked in. We were actually the first same-sex couple that was denied here in Round County. And when we got denied, actually I had been so angry. I had been so angry. And when we got denied, I already had the list of who's the next step, and the step after that, and the step after that, and the step after that.
So who did you go up to? All the way up to who?
I went all the way to the governor's office, and I was basically told, this is not gonna change. Nobody's gonna make her issue a license until somebody sues her.